Welcome! It's Mud Dog with the TexasSpaceNavy, bringing you another Star Citizen video. And today's video is going to be all about key bindings. So many of you are now playing the game. Some of you are a little bit newer to the game, and you haven't really experimented with key bindings for your setup. I know many of you are probably playing with mouse and keyboard. Some of you are playing with one joystick, some of you are playing with dual joysticks, some of you with a throttle. So I'm going to kind of walk you through how to set up key bindings, and maybe, just maybe, you'll like my personal key bindings, which I use dual joysticks, and sometimes I throw in a throttle as well, but I don't have the throttle plugged in right now. One thing I would recommend doing anytime you update the game or there's a new patch that comes out, delete your user folder. This could automatically help you with a lot of issues that people experience in the game. The problem when you delete your user folder in the Star Citizen, folder is that you lose your key bindings, you lose your camera settings, etc. So it doesn't hurt to actually save those configuration files somewhere else once you have them set up. Then you can just go back and add them back into those folders after you've launched the game one time. So that's what I would recommend doing. But let's say you just want to try a new setup, or this is the first time you've ever had to set anything up. We're going to talk about how to do that. So from the main menu here, after you've loaded into the game, you're going to click on Options. That should bring up this menu here. Along the top, you have game settings, graphics, audio, controls, key bindings, comms, VoIP, and head tracking. Click on key bindings. So what this does is it brings up a map of the keyboard key bindings, which you can zoom in on by just moving your mouse over it. So if you're a mouse and keyboard player, these are the default settings for you. If you wanted to change those, you could just press on Advanced Control Customization. Now, I'm going to show you how to do it for a joystick, but you can do it with the keyboard and mouse by doing it the same way. Just, it needs to say keyboard and mouse down here in the lower right. There's two different modes. There's flight and on foot. Right now, we're only going to deal with the flight, because if I deal with on foot, it may take a while to do this video as well. So I'm going to click not once, but twice where it says joystick hotas. So this is the same place you'll go if you're using just a hotas or just one joystick, or if you're using dual joysticks. It shows a default setup here for one joystick. Obviously, we're going to do something a little different. So I'm going to click on Advanced Control Customization. Now, all of these tabs will open up. If you see, I open up the first one and I have the flight cockpit. These are some of the things you can do. If you want to set up a flight systems ready or a engine off button on your joystick or hotas, you can definitely do that, or lock and lock doors, open all doors. You can set up those buttons right on your joystick if you have enough buttons. You can do button combinations as well. Like they say right control and button 6 for eject. I'm never going to use that. I probably do need to bind and eject, but I'm just not in the point where I want to do that right now, because there's no real punishment for, dying in the game yet. View. So I hate when they bind the view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this and I'm going to press the right mouse button to clear it. They have the instructions down here for different things, but I just wanted to unbind that. I don't want any kind of view interfering with my flight control movement. So here it says y-axis, x-axis, z-axis for my pitch, yaw, and roll. Well, that could be misleading, especially for me. I have two joysticks plugged in right now. So which one is that two? It says joystick 1, but which one is the game reading as my joystick 1? So I'm going to double click, and my pitch, I'm going to push up on the joystick, and that's going to bind my pitch both up and down to that axis on my joystick. So I use pitch, yaw, and roll on my right-handed joystick. As you can see, that's input 2 and not input 1, which it's bound to right now. So I'll do the same thing. This time I'll hold my joystick to the left, and it'll pick up that left, or that it'll pick up that X axis on my joystick. For Z, I'm gonna roll my joystick because my joystick has a twist. So I'll twist it and hold it there to bind the Z axis. Do I want anything else bound over here? I sure do. I like binding space break, and I usually bind that to my left joystick. I have a few buttons, and I'm going to use my thumb button for the space break. So, as you can see, there's already a lot of stuff bound to that. So, so I am going to have to unbind all of this, or a lot of this. The ground stuff I don't necessarily have to unbind. We'll see. But, as I get there, I'll unbound most of this stuff and put it on the right joystick. So button 2 is now space break. Then my speed limiter increase, I like to hit these as well. So my speed limiter increase will be bound to my left joystick, button 4. So all I do is I double click here and then I press the button I want it bound to. So limiter decrease will be button 3. So if I want to go faster with my top speed, I can press button 4 on my left joystick, and if I want to slow down, it'll be button 3 on the left joystick. You could mess with the acceleration limiter. I'm not gonna mess with mine. Okay, so strafe up, down, left, right. All this stuff I'm going to actually bind to my left joystick, but I'm not going to do it by buttons, so I need to go and unbind this. So if you make a mistake and it for some reason wants you to bind something like that, you can either wait for the timer to go off or you can press escape. Okay, so earlier when I was doing my movement, you saw where I have a whole pitch and I have pitch up and down. I use the whole pitch here for my axis. Down here for strafe, I'm going to do something similar. Instead of using strafe up or down, I'm going to use the combination. And I'm going to use my x-axis. I'm sorry, that's wrong. I don't want to do that. I want to use my twist for strafe up and down. I apologize. So I'm going to twist my left joystick after I double click to bind this. That's what I use to strafe up and down on my left joystick. So now when we go left and right, I'll use the x-axis on my left joystick, and I'll hold the joystick down to the right to bind that. And then I will throttle. Now, I used to use strafe forward and backward, but they don't give you that option anymore. It's only throttle forward and back. So I will bind that to my y-axis on the left joystick. So let's recap real quick. I have my pitch, yaw, and roll. That's the, if I turn my joystick to the left, then the camera will pan left. Okay? If I want to go pan the camera down, I press up on the joystick on my right joystick and it'll pan the camera down. Whereas these here are your actual throttle. You're going to move in those directions. So if I want to go left or right, I can hold my left joystick left or right to move in that direction. I can twist it to go up or down, and then I can push forward or backward on that left joystick to go forward or backward. That's the way I have it set up. Afterburner, I always set that up to my left trigger. Some people want to put some different weapon group there. I have all my weapon groups on one joystick. Landing system toggle, we don't want that, or auto land, because I'm not going to use button 12 on that joystick. Just being honest. Targeting, so this is important. I always set up at least 1 or 2 targets on my right joystick, the one that does all the firing. So if I want to set up a target lock, let's see. I could set up a target lock to pin target, etc. But honestly, what I think I want here is to go to target cycling. Tell you what, let's lock selected target. We're going to press the... No, we're going to clear that. I think what I really want is target cycling on that joystick. So we can select attackers, hostiles, friendlies. So what I'll do is I'm going to set up cycle forwards by pressing the up hat key on my right joystick. Input 2 is always my right joystick right now. Friendlies, I will target friendlies by pressing right on my hat. And we could probably cycle all by pressing left. Although I would mind cycling something under my reticle. But we can get back to that. That's something I want to do. But we also want to do sub-target. So that one's going to be down the cycle, a sub-target on a ship. And you can change these however you want. This is just how I've got it set up right now. And actually, I may make the right one my cycle sub-targets instead of friendlies. Is there one underneath? In view. That could be it. Cycle selection. That's just an all cycle. Okay. I think it's fine the way it is right now. So we'll just keep it that way right now. Here's under reticle. See, I kind of like doing that one. Let's do that one for up. Let's change hostiles for down. And friendlies will be left. We don't need all. But sub-targets will be right. Okay. I've got it how I want it now. Again, you can change these at any time, even while the game's going. But definitely find out what's most comfortable for you. So let's look at target hilling. I don't really use that. Flight scanning. This is going to be important for all sorts of reasons. Scanning mode. I will sometimes use something on the joystick, but most of the time I just press tab to change into scanning mode. Active scanning. I'm going to use my button 2 on my right joystick, which is also going to be a weapons fire group, but if you're in scanning mode, you're not actually firing weapons. Ping, I'm going to use my right trigger. Scanning increase, I'm going to use button 4, and decrease button 3. That way all my scanning stuff is on the right joystick, and it's not going to interfere with my movement controls on the left joystick. For mining, so I do like to have a lot of my mining stuff bound to that joystick, to my right joystick as well. Because again, you're not going to be using... Mining mode's different from scanning mode, which is different from firing guns and stuff. So, mining mode, I like to use button 7 on my right joystick. And to me, 7 is on the base of the joystick. I'm rarely going to use this to begin with. So it's just nice to have it there. Button 1 is going to fire my mining laser. Switch mining laser is going to be button 8. Or 6, sorry. Increase mining laser power. I like to use a throttle for that. So I would use a throttle. And I'm actually going to set the one on my left joystick to be the one that I want to use for that. Now, the biggest problem with this, actually, I'm not going to do it that way, because I still want to be able to move my ship if possible. So we're going to use the slider on the right joystick. If I had my throttle set up right now, I would actually use the throttle for my mining laser power. And I'm not going to have anything set for the activate mining consumables, not just yet. Or the jettison cargo. We're not jettisoning no cargo, man. No. Turrets. So this is also going to be set up a little different. My pitch, I'm still going to use my right joystick to do that. And yaw is going to be my right joystick as well. Velocity limiter. I mean, I could mess with some of this stuff. I'm not going to worry about it right now. Some of these are very important, like the ESP, recentering the turret, the stabilizer. I mean, yeah, you might want to mess with this and actually, if you're going to fly and be in a turret a lot, you might want to set that up a little bit more. Weapons. Fire weapons group 1 is obviously going to be my main trigger on my right mouse, and button 2 on my mouse, my right joystick. Sorry, repeating joystick all over and over and over again will make you do that. Missiles. So I will acquire missile lock with button 3 on my right joystick, and launch missile with button 4 on my right joystick. This allows me to acquire missile lock with multiple missiles. I don't have to worry about accidentally firing one, you know, that sort of thing. Now, launch flare, deploy chaff. You know, right now with the game the way it is, I just like to launch all my countermeasures, and I'm going to bind that to my left joystick. And I usually set up the right hat for launching all countermeasures. I like that we can launch both with one go. It's kind of, you know what I might actually do? Since we can launch either one, I'm going to do flare to the right and chaff to the left hat. If we go back up to movement, I also like to set a couple of other things on my left joystick. That's target side. Let's close these. That might make things a little easier to go through. Target cycling. Well, what the world? Mining, turrets, weapons, missiles. I've already set my missiles. Defense I've got set up, but let's take care of targeting. I'm going to close these. The reason why is because decoupled mode, I want to make that my left hat down. And there is one more that I like to do with hat up, and that is cruise control. So left hat up will be my cruise control. Those are important for me. I use them all the freaking time. Let's go ahead and close defensive. We're now on power. I'm not going to mess with any of the power stuff, nor the radar stuff. You know, the light HUD, I'm not going to mess with that either. Lights, no. I don't need to bind any of that with my joystick. Now, ground vehicles, I may want to bound to the joystick. Drive forward, backward with the slider. You know what? I'd rather go my left joystick. The same movement controls that I'm using for my ships, I want to do for my ground vehicles as well. Forward, backward, left, right. I mean, we're not going to roll. Why would a ground vehicle roll? That's weird. Button 2 for my brake. Primary fire is going to be button 1 on the right joystick. Button 2. Actually, you know what? Forward, backward. Do I want to turn left and right with my joystick, my right joystick, and do forward, backward on the left? I think we will do that. So I'm going to mix the controls here. It's a little different. So I have forward and backward bound to the left joystick, and I have turn right or left with the right joystick. I know, it could be confusing, right? And we'll use our trigger for boost. Okay, so we have that set up. None of this other stuff is really going to matter, but I would check it to make sure, you know, that you don't have everything in the world bound to them, because it could interfere with other things. Now, spectator mode probably won't, but I want to definitely, I'm going to go in and clear these out just because I'll probably use mouse and keyboard to fly around spectator mode if I'm actually spectating anything. Social, respawn, we don't care about that. We'll use a keyboard control for that. Emotes. You can get all these emotes bound, which is actually not a bad idea if you've got a joystick with a lot of stuff, as well as having your FOIP keybound. Interaction mode, inner thought. These are buttons that I'm not going to be using in keyboard or in joystick mode because I'm going to actually be using my keyboard for all of that. Okay, so we have everything set up the way that I want it. So now I can just technically just exit out of this menu and we're all good. But you may want to go in and save control settings. So you can click on control profiles and go to the top and save control settings. And I'm going to say my default dual joy. That's pretty descriptive. Okay, so we've got that set up. Now it's time to go in the game and play. So guys, I hope you like this video. Make sure you hit that like button if you do. And if you haven't ever subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. I am wanting to get to 10,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I'm running out of time, guys. I've got like 2 months. Help me get there. I would certainly appreciate it. If you are interested in supporting this channel, I do recommend a couple of different ways to do that. One, you can watch the videos all the way through. Click on the ads, watch those all the way through. You know, go to the links for the ads. You don't have to buy anything. That does help me as well, but you don't have to do that. Or you could join the Patreon or YouTube members programs. That's going to be linked in the description down below, so definitely check that out. My org is Texas. You can find us on the Robert Space Industries site, TexasSpaceNavy.com, or TexasNavy.space. All those sites will take you to the org and some of the things that we have going on. We also have that listed in the description. We have a Discord and a Guilded. You can check both of those out. That's listed down below too. Real quick shout out to several of my org mates that do their own video making and Twitch streams. Definitely check them out. They are really, really good. And all that's going to be down below as well. So let me know what you guys think of this video. Are you glad to have somebody walk you through setting keybinds? Are you glad to see how I have my dual joysticks set up? Are there something other settings that you're interested in knowing about? Let me know. I would love to take a look at possibly doing another video, that walks you through some of that. I'm Mud Dog with the Texas Space Navy, and I'll see you out in the verse.